we saw a pretty cool movie last night, and that we mentioned earlier, and that is Interstella 5555. Now, a little context for this movie. This movie was released in 2003, and it is an anime movie. It is an Japanese animated movie, and it is very experimental and fun in the sense that there is no dialogue to said movie. It is just front to back the Daft Punk album Discovery. Literally, all the songs in order. It is just their album, and all the music is in it. And as a Daft Punk fan, I love Daft Punk. They're probably like my favorite artist ever. I've wanted to see this movie for a long time, and seeing it in the theater was super cool. There it is. Yep, this was the I think it was the 10-year anniversary, 11-year anniversary.
How long ago was 2003?
No, but the album came out in 2001.
Right,
So
but were they not doing the anniversary for the movie?
No, it was for the album.
Oh, the album came out in 2001.
Yeah, so it was a something anniversary
23 years ago.
of the album. So they put the movie back in theaters for one day only on my birthday. So I had to go.
I can't play that.
We're gonna get copyright striked. So, yeah, the movie's really interesting. It's I'm not gonna spoil it. To the best of my ability.
Can I put this in my anime playlist?
I mean,
it's not anime music.
No.
And it's not like it originated in the movie.
No.
It's like
the movie was literally made for the album.
Yeah, okay, so it's not
so
really
you
in the anime
could.
playlist. No.
But the songs I just love Daft Punk. So the movie is a group of aliens that have a band get kidnapped by an evil music CEO, and he brings them to Earth, and they essentially get whitewashed and get thrown into the music industry.
Except for the one guy.
Except for the one guy who was blackwashed.
Yeah, they had to be like, hey, we gotta have a little diversity here.
There's one. So, honestly, general thoughts. Tell me what it was a very weird movie.
It was a very weird movie. I didn't know what to expect going into it. I was like, because all you had told me was like, it's this anime movie that is Daft Punk, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I like Daft Punk, and like, I don't know. I haven't really listened to Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Like, so to go into this movie, I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So we're watching it. And then you were like, oh, by the way, this has no dialogue whatsoever. And I was like, oh,
okay.
Okay, well, this should be interesting. And then the longer I watched it, the more, like, you don't realize how much not having dialogue forces you to actually think about what's going on in the movie. Because you're not being told anything. You're only being shown, which means you have to infer what's going on, either from the lyrics in the song or just what's happening on screen. So... And I think this movie did a lot, like I said, no telling, so it had to show everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there was still such a full, unique story in it, despite, like, not having any dialogue.
Right. Which is so interesting, because I think, like, we really live in the era of movie that is entirely tell. There's, like, we're really losing the show aspect of movies, and it's really interesting. I was very curious about it because this movie could be such a disaster so quickly.
Yep.
It could so quickly just be really boring and just feel like a ton of music videos strung together, which we'll get to in a minute because that's what they did at the end.
Yep.
We'll get into that in a second. But the movie is just over an hour long because it's literally just the album front to back. But here's the other thing, and I want your take on too, is when I was in the theater, I was like, oh, it's only an hour. Like, I don't know if it's going to like feel worth it. But if it was like a 2-hour thing and it was just music and no dialogue, I really think I would have struggled.
Yeah.
Like at the hour 30 mark, the novelty would have lost itself on me.
Yeah. And I think It's one of those things that doesn't overstay its welcome because towards the end, like even though I liked it, towards the end I was like, okay, like how much longer is this gonna go on?
Right.
Like, and I didn't know it was just the album front to back. I thought it was like a compilation of the favorite songs that put everything together. And what I did appreciate was, and I've talked about this before, of like if you look back in older like classic Disney movies, you see how much of a character the music is. And like the music, if somebody gets hit with a frying pan, they're gonna put a gong clash in there, and the music is part of the story. So then this movie takes out all of the dialogue and the music is the story, and you can infer a lot just from the lyrics of like even the limited lyrics that are in, because there's not a lot of vocals in Daft Punk music. So you have to like interpret some of it from the music and then also be like, okay, well, here's a couple, like this song has scattered lyrics because it's this really big character moment for this one character. And, you know, so to put all that together, there was a really big twist at the end that I did not see coming.
I don't know if I'm not going to spoil it because I really do think it's a great movie that you should go see. But it does have a twist that like we were genuinely like had our jaws to the floor.
Yeah. And like it made sense. Like it wasn't a twist that came out of nowhere.
No,
and was like, oh, this is stupid.
Twist.
Like
it was a good twist.
It was a really good twist. And I was like, okay.
Okay. I mean, that's when I was truly locked in.
You're like,
because the whole time, like, because it's an hour long, it's just music, like there is a lot of montage to move the story along, which is just, you know, a nature of the medium. It's just par for the course. Because and this movie was kind of hard to rate because I wasn't gonna be like, oh, it dragged in this part because there was no dialogue, and it's like, well, no freaking duh, like that was the point of the movie.
Exactly, it had no dialogue.
But I also think it's interesting. This is just genuinely such a good album choice to make this movie with, because Daft Punk they've been making music for years. If you haven't, they're very experimental. And it's so interesting. Daft Punk has been experimental filmmakers for years. Like they've made a ton of super weird experimental music videos and stuff. Some that we got to watch after the movie.
Ooh, that was rough.
But
well,
it wasn't rough. It was
some
just
of it
like
was very interesting.
Well, okay, so since it was like a Regal event movie, they played after the movie. They played like 4 or 5 like music videos from Daft Punk over the years. And they played one that was like a dog going through the big city for a song Defunk, which is a great song. And it was very narrative. That it did have dialogue, but they have like this dog character that's like a human with a giant basset hound head.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of disturbing, but like cool in a way. And then they did, there's a music video for Around the World, which is one of their more popular songs. That was just like an interpretive dance.
It was kind of weird, but I was
I was so locked in.
Encapsulated by it. I was like, what am I looking at?
Because
why can't I look away?
Because it was like it was like a giant circle. It kind of looked like a hot tub, but it was covered, and then it had like stairs that went around it. And it was like these synchronized swimmers were like dancing around it, but there was also a bunch of skeletons that were dancing. And then there was also like RoboCops, and it was, go look it up. It is like,
it's wild.
It's very French.
Yeah.
It's very avant-garde, if you will, to use a pretentious film term.
Je ne sais quoi.
It has the mise-en-scène that you are looking for.
The ratatouille of it all.
It has the baguette. And so there was another one where essentially, if you needed to know what like most Daft Punk music videos are, it was just like the house / EDM scene from like 1990 to like 2008, 10-ish was just really, really, really weird. And they were at the forefront of that movement. So it was a lot of like people with questionable fashion, like getting parties shut down was like the main like theme, because that's what house music was. It was like rebellious and it was like cool and hip. But then like the direction of their video was super weird, because it was like, oh, this cop comes in to shut down this party, but then we focus in on a tomato stain on his shirt.
And then we have to follow the process of the tomato from being planted as a seed to growing, to being harvested, to being shipped off to a store, to being bought at the store, to being turned into pasta sauce with step-by-step instructions on how to make pasta sauce, to being put on the pasta, to being put in the container, in a lunchbox, in this cop car from this cop's mom. And then he eats it and he spills it because they're trying to rush to get to this party.
Right.
And then we catch back up and that's it.
Which, in a way, I think it was Revolution 909 was the video for that one. Genuinely so funny. Like really wacky filmmaking stuff. If you want to see just like, if you just want some entertaining and like wacky music videos, like go for it because they're so funny.
What was the last one they played? I thought that one was really cool. I think it was like Infinite.
It was Infinite Repeat or something like that. It was from a so Daft Punk in early 2021 said they were retiring, and they retired as a group. And since then, their most popular album is Random Access Memories, which is my favorite album of all time. It's so good. But when the 10-year anniversary for that came up, because it was released in 2013, when the 10-year anniversary came up, they were like, we're retired. Let's just release all of our old demos. So all of the songs that didn't make it on that album got released on like a deluxe edition. And one of those songs was it Infinite Repeat?
Let me look. I'll look it up real quick.
But it was essentially like a really cool, like animated, like mixed media kind of video where like it started with a circle, and then the circle turned into like a person, and then the person was like running, but then the person turned into the robots, and then it turned into and it was like this whole life cycle, and then it like slowly turned it back into a circle, and it fit with the song really well.
It's Infinity Repeating.
Infinity Repeating. Very good song with Julian Casablanca. Anyway, if you get the chance to see Interstella 5555, if you're into some more like niche, like
it was very niche.
It was very, very niche.
I will say, for a movie that had absolutely no dialogue, I was so like invested in the story
for real
of these aliens who got kidnapped and like all of their memories were wiped. Because if you're a fan of Daft Punk, you've probably seen this movie,
right?
Because what was it?
Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger.
That one. It's the music video for that,
right?
But we watched the whole movie,
right?
Not just that section of it.
Which that scene's awesome.
It's a wild scene when put in the full context. Like, think about watching the music video without the context.
It's like kind of weird,
them
but
getting
like,
kidnapped.
You get it. Yeah.
You're like, okay, these are like robots or something that are being built and like manufactured. But to have the whole context of
there
like
is so much deeper than you think.
It's so much darker, dude.
It's really, really messed up. Highly recommend going to see it. It's not like streaming anywhere, I don't think. It's like really hard to find.
Let's find out. I bet I can rent it on YouTube.
I'm sure. Yeah, Interstella 5555. If you like Daft Punk, or if you even just like house EDM music,
you can watch it on YouTube with Kello Concerts for free.
Kello Concerts.
So you can try Kello Concerts for free for 7 days.
And then watch
and then
it.
You can watch it and then cancel after that. So you can watch it for free on YouTube.
See, let me see.
That's crazy.
It's like genuinely phenomenal.
They have all of the music videos as a playlist on YouTube, though.
Yeah, but it's not the full experience.
It's not the full experience,
but
it's virtually the same thing.
Right.
I mean, it's all the pieces. It's just whether or not you want to watch the pieces together, because they're all like uploaded.
DVD is unavailable.
They're all uploaded by Daft Punk, like they're official music videos.
Right.
So
anyway, highly recommend. Really, really cool theater experience just to listen to one of my favorite albums all the way through on my birthday. What happened?
I knew it.
What?
So apparently, it's incredibly hard to remaster this movie.
Oh?
And according to this YouTube thumbnail of a video I haven't watched, apparently it was AI upscaled to remaster and put it back in theaters, which is something I was thinking about last night as we were watching it. Because I was like, there's some parts of this where it just, like, as someone who AI upscales stuff for thumbnails,
Right.
like, AI upscaling can only do so much. Like, it has to have the details to work with.
Did we watch the upscaled version?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel so cheated.
Like, it's the same thing.
Right.
But I was thinking about that yesterday because I was like, some of this looks like blurry, like they tried to upscale it.
Right.
But then
Like it didn't really translate.
And then there were some parts of it where it looked fine, and I was like, wow, this looks really good for a 2001 or 2003 anime movie.
Right.
Like, I've seen anime that came out in 2003. Like, it's not great.
It looks like 2003.
So, I don't know.
Interesting. Highly recommend.
Interesting, but
Great movie.